Hey guys, welcome back to Ultimate S&S. So today we'll discuss some of the stuff that we're seeing here in our area and abroad. So one of the things we're discussing is these cost of food, man, the current inflation rate that just continues to go up. So, reading some more articles and stuff that's out there. If you want to read these articles, guys, get in Google, get on DuckDuckGo, do a quick search. Inflation 2022. What are the experts saying? And you're going to bring up all kinds of articles. There's so much material that I read. I'm not going to fill a description page up with over 40 freaking articles, guys. We condense it down and pull the information I feel that I need, but also the information I think people need to be aware of. So one of the things we're seeing right now, we put a video out that said the inflation rates were up about 4.5 to 5% right now. Well, actually, globally, that is here in this country. Globally, they are actually quite a bit higher. We are actually looking at between 12 and 17%. That was the numbers that was given for the month of May. That is from January until now. Now, last year we had seen inflation go up about 2.9%. It's just insane, and it is crazy how much this stuff is going up, guys. Now, they are saying that by the end of this year, we're going to see upward globally, across all the economies of about a 22% increase. Now, here in our country, we're looking at between 11 and 12%, somewhere around there on the conservative side of things. Could be worse, but we're going to go with more of the, the conservative medium here. So, one of the things I think that's very important now is if you're not growing your own food, and you need to at least get some seeds back, because you're going to end up running into a situation where you are going to have to either grow your own food or go out and scavenge for food, eating out of garbage cans and stuff of your neighbors, or eating wild plants. And I know a lot of people live in the cities and they don't have areas to grow stuff outside. You can grow these plants and stuff in 1 gallon planters, half-gallon planters. Understand you're not going to have a very large garden, but you will at least have some food to eat, and you're going to need to ration that food here in the days ahead. So one of the things we're also looking at is the reports that are coming out for what's expected next year in 2023. They are saying that we are looking at if for an average cost of bread was around $2 at the beginning of this year, we're looking at more like $4.09 to $5, depending on the brands that you get, guys, or where you're shopping at. But it's pretty much doubled. They're saying by next year, if something does not drastically happen, and even if it drastically happens, we're going to be looking at anywhere between $8 to $10 for a loaf of bread. That is insane. I'm not going to pay that. I would rather grow my own millet, my own wheats and stuff like that. Now, down here in this area, it is very hard to grow wheat because we get so much rain. And you need a good water source, but you also need that really nice dry climate and stuff. So one of the things I'm experimenting with here is millet. So we put out 50 seeds at the beginning of the year, and we've ended up pulling about 300 seeds off of that plant. And we have a few more that are coming in. Now, it grew very well. The rain didn't hurt it too bad, but out of those 50 seeds I planted, only 5 plants actually came out of those seeds, but it was enough to be able to get some stuff going, which will get me continually building that up as we go. So right now I'm not going to put those out because we are coming into September and August, and that is going to be one of our rainiest parts of the season out here. Even when we start looking into September and even October, we start looking at more of our tropical storms coming in. So while that could be a good source for the rain, but it's the high winds. As this stuff gets taller, it's going to blow over, and you really need to plant according to your seasons. But one of the great thing about rainy seasons, if you're growing gourds and things like that, you can actually get some really nice sized gourds pretty quick. But you got to be careful that they don't get overwatered too heavily, because they can actually grow too fast and crack. Whenever you're growing in high heat areas, when you have watermelons and cantaloupes and stuff, they can grow really fast, and then the heat will actually come in and cause the juices inside to superheat, and it can actually bust your melons as well. So those are some things you need to look at. Planting them in shaded areas. You want some quick growth, but you don't want it to explode your melons. So you're just going to have to balance that out. Right now, with everything that's happening abroad, we're posting up another video today that's going to basically talk a little bit more about some of the stuff that we're seeing, and it's starting to make a little bit of sense with this new technology that's coming out, with everything that's happening around the economy, and where we're seeing that the end goal is to get not just America, not just our allies, but the entire world to fall into basically a one government type of a system. And we're watching what's happening today. So be sure you check out that video. It's just called The Rising. You're going to have to check it out, guys. Check it out. We've got a lot of really good information in there for you. We actually took what was originally going to just be for the members channel, but I felt like it was something everybody needed to be aware of. So we paired that together, and that's going to be released to everyone. And to make sure our members feel like they're not getting gypped on that, guys, we're going to do a special live stream tonight. So make sure you come back and check that out. We'll do a live stream for our members. And it's just to sit down and talk. And there's really not anything in particular we're going to discuss other than what you guys want to discuss. And we'll meet together on the minds and see what we can come up with what's happening, because our members are from different areas of the United States, and that is awesome because we can find a little bit more information directly from some sources that have gotten to know each other a little bit over the last year or so. But again, man, get food. If you don't have supplies stocked up. Now, what do I mean by supplies? You know, we've talked about water filters and things like that. But one of the things that I think that we really need to be focusing on is having some sort of a seed bank. Because understand, just because you're prepping and you're buying food and you're putting food back and you're stockpiling all this stuff, that doesn't mean you're going to be able to sit in the area forever. You might eventually have to move on. So make sure that you have stuff that you can carry. And one of the things that doesn't take hardly any space and has hardly any weight to it is good seeds for your gardens. So I can tell you things that grow fast for this area here. So I put out some cucumber seeds the other day, and I'm already getting blossoms, and I'm seeing some small cucumbers. So I expect within the next week or so, we should start really seeing some cucumbers come off. And that was planted about 2.5, almost 3 weeks ago. So cucumbers, great source. Now, if you're in real cold climates, you got to watch the weather because it will kill it with frost. Here we have a pretty good growth season. But and then zucchini and squash plants, they will grow super fast. You're looking at about 3 weeks before you start seeing the first blossoms, which will be male blossoms. But then a week later, you should start seeing those female blossoms as well. That's going to give you a quick source of food. Tomato plants, on the other hand, they can take a little bit of time to get going. Even though we all like tomatoes, they require certain types of soils and stuff. So that may be something that have some ideas of where you could have a bug out location to plant these types of stuff. And it would not hurt to have some good topsoil available there. You know, you can take these bags of topsoil and have all that ready. And that way you're not having to carry as much stuff around. But you got to remember, it's going to take 2 to 3 months before you start getting crops off that. So you need some sort of a source set aside where you have food ready, where you have an availability of food. And it's going to be very hard to run around with a rucksack on your back filled with cans, because cans are heavy. They're better than glass jars because those will break under a strain of trying to get from one location to other very quickly. With a can, if it gets dented, just make sure you eat it first. That way you're not dealing with botulism and stuff. So I would recommend getting first aid kits, getting trauma kits. One of the great resources that you can also get is you could go, usually your local library is going to have old medical textbooks, okay? When they reach a certain state, they turn those to the libraries. And you can actually purchase that from the library. You could take and actually make copies of the pages yourself of stuff that you feel comfortable you would be able to do. And that way you have a medical source there as well. I would recommend getting some different edible plant books, even medicinal plant books. So we need to realize that medicine is not going to be highly available. So there are certain types of medicine that work great for long-term storage. Then there's certain types of medicines that don't. The older they get, if they're not kept in proper temperatures and stuff, that the chemical makeup of that medicine actually changes, and it is no longer what it was originally, and it could actually be something that kills you. So you need to be checking with doctors on that type of stuff. But there are a lot of safe avenues. So understand, caffeine is probably one of the best ways to relieve a headache. Aspirin contains caffeine in it. It also has a blood thinner as well. But there are a lot of plants out there that you can do that's going to have caffeine in them. Tea plants, for one, you're going to have tea leaves and stuff. I would recommend keeping some tea plants, vacuum seal those things, or tea bags. You can keep those, and they have them all kinds of different flavors. But that's going to give you a source of caffeine, maybe not as much as, say, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and all these different types of products out there, but you're not going to have all those sugars. But that's something else to think about. Most people, unless you just don't eat sugar at all, most people are, even though they don't realize it, what they call a sugar junkie. And if you go, say, if you eat, a handful of candy a day, well, that's a lot of sugar. And if you stop eating that, you will start getting these headaches. You will start getting migraines and things like that. And it can take weeks for that to go. They say sugar is actually more addictive than heroin, and that the withdrawals are actually even worse. So what do you do in that situation? Well, you can get you some different types of candies. You can get you some different types of seeds to grow plants such as watermelon, cantaloupe, things that are going to have a sugar content to it. You can do honey from your bees because there's going to be a sugar content to that as well, and sweets and stuff. So that's going to help to ease that stuff off when you are no longer able to afford the stuff they're selling in the stores. You might not think candy is as a targeted item right now. I used to be able to buy these, 1-2 pound containers of spice drops and different stuff like that. And it was about $2 a piece. They are now close to $7 if you can even find them. Those shelves are usually empty. Now, there was a report that came out on Skittles that has some kind of titanium dioxide within the coloring of it. I don't know what that stuff is, but what I do know is on the report that it says that it actually is poisonous and doesn't just leave your body very quickly. It's something that can build up. So I wouldn't recommend putting Skittles in there because apparently there is actually lawsuits going out against that company now. They have not commented on it. They said that they are following the regulations within the food regulations, and that may be. But most countries do not allow their products or any product that has that titanium dioxide in there because it is now a known poison, and if you ingest it, it is very bad for your body. So just be aware, guys. And this is coming from someone who used to love Skittles. Maybe they say it could cause brain failure, brain death, stuff like that. And that could maybe explain why I am the way I am. Maybe I ate too many Skittles. I don't know. I don't think that's the case. But just passing the information on to everybody, guys. So be mindful of what it is that you're prepping. And then be mindful of how you store those preps as well. Because if you store food improperly, it's going to go bad. It's going to kill you. So it's going to make you very sick, and you're not going to have a doctor to go to. But there's a lot of really good plants out there. I didn't realize that peppers have this capsaicin stuff in there, for those who aren't aware of what that is. If you have like icy hots and different types of rub for your shoulders, that contains that stuff. That is where that warm feeling gets in there to those muscles and stuff. So I would recommend that you do those. But they also say that it helps lower blood pressure as well, certain types of peppers. So definitely keep you some pepper seeds for the future, guys, because you're not going to be able to run out to a store and just buy a handful of aspirin or something like that. Now, we do keep a lot of different types of medicines. You have to watch expiration dates on those things as they get close to expiring. I feel it's best to donate that to somebody just who may need it or whatever, or a very large family, because we buy in bulk a lot of times with that type of stuff. But you're going to notice where you used to be able to buy a large jar of aspirin for like $5, you're now looking at like $27 for aspirin. And we're not talking about the extra strength aspirin that's around 500 milligrams. We're talking about 81 milligram aspirin that most people use for blood pressures and things like that, or their blood thinners for those that may have heart conditions and stuff that have to take a daily aspirin. So be aware those prices are going to continue to go up as the availability is actually dropping down as well. You're seeing less varieties of it. Even your off brands like Equate and things like that, they have almost tripled and even quadrupled in the price of what it cost just a year ago, just 2 years ago. So be mindful, guys. Keep prepping, keep getting food. Stockpile it, whatever you can, man. Stockpile it to the roof if you can. But everyone have a wonderful day.